Hey everyone, the first step to climbing is getting a lead. I'm sure everyone knows this by now. But a very common problem in lower elos is how easily thrown those leads are. You have to understand that in some games you can only afford to die once or twice, and sometimes not even that much if you want to carry. It really depends on how difficult the game is. So if you find yourself getting really fed but you have a lot of deaths, you won't get far. In the words of the wise man Dopa, he says, if you die more than 3 times, you are not playing well. He's definitely right, because when I'm playing my best, no matter what champion I'm on, I will have below 3 deaths. It doesn't matter if I'm a mage, tank, or an assassin. So today, we're going to look at 2 games from 2 different players in gold, where they both get fed early and make very, very big fundamental mistakes that you need to know or you will consistently throw leads. This first one is a Talon in gold against Lissandra. He gets his first 2 kills here from a river 2v2, and now has the game in his hands. We all know how hard a Talon can snowball a game. But, funnily enough, immediately after a Talon gets that double kill, he makes a big mistake that could throw it all away. So he goes straight to mid and pushes the wave, and this is good. Then he keeps going looking to get plates. This is still fine, especially since he can clear this next wave as well. Lissandra shows up though, so he clears the wave with his W safely and starts backing off. So he should recall here 100% of the time. It's literally, and I mean literally, a perfect recall. The wave coming is a cannon wave, and it's really far away still, so he can easily recall and get back to lane without missing a single CS. He has a lot of gold because of the 2 kills, and he really needs to spend it. Sadly, he doesn't recall here, and this can be a big deal. You have to remember, you can be 50-0 with 100,000 gold, and it doesn't mean anything unless that gold is spent. That huge lead from the 2 kills is not being used right now. This basically makes him and Lissandra even until he recalls, and now it will be really hard to get another perfect recall timer like this. Also, I know what most of you are thinking. Well, duh, I would always recall here. This player is just bad. Some of you would, some of you wouldn't. I've watched enough low elo, and this is extremely common. It's easier to see mistakes and know what to do when watching like this, but in real time, you won't make the right play. So I don't want to see any stupid comments like, this can't be gold, I would never make these mistakes. None of that. Trust me, you make worse mistakes than this, so pay attention. Anyways, things don't get much better here, as the Talon continues to make bad decisions to throw his lead even more. So he overstays, then pushes the next wave, and it seems like Lissandra goes for a roam. So, Talon starts working on plates. Now, while he's working on plates, the fight is already going down in bot lane. When this is happening, the odds of you making it down to the fight before it's over is extremely small. You basically have to already be roaming down before the fight breaks out to make it there in time. So in these situations, it's best to just keep working on the plates, especially since Lissandra's bot lane. It's just free gold. Sadly, our Talon here tries to roam way too late, gets down to bot lane, then just turns around as he sees the play isn't possible. So he wastes a ton of time and gets nothing and heads back to mid. Now, I'm going to show you how to be a machine. Check this out. Let's go back to after Talon pushed the wave and should have recalled. See this ward he placed in the middle of the lane? This is a great ward because it can see if Lissandra roams when he's gone, and he can see what side she roams to. So let's say he recalled, and if he did, he would have seen Lissandra walk towards bot lane while he's at fountain. So he could jump some walls and head straight to bot lane for the counter gank, since he's much stronger than Lissandra after spending his gold, and she has no ult from the river fight. Lissandra is very weak early, especially if she doesn't have ult. He would clean up everyone in bot lane and snowball very hard, and that's how you become a machine. And remember, if you want to improve fast and get the rank you've always wanted, then check out our hyper improvement system at SkillCapped.com. We have professional courses by the top players, Smurf commentaries where a challenger player walks you through how to climb out of every rank from iron to diamond, and we upload tons of new exclusive guides to our website each week. In fact, we're so confident you'll improve using our system that if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using SkillCapped, you can claim a full refund, so there's no risk. What are you waiting for? Check out SkillCapped.com and get the rank you've always wanted, link in the description below. Anyways, moving on, Talon still hasn't recalled and he's going to get ganked here. Lissandra uses her E, ults Talon, then Thresh shows up from bot lane. So if Talon had his nearly 2,000 gold spent, he could have his first item, his mythic, and could easily just full combo the Lissandra and one-shot her, since she just used her entire kit and CC before Thresh even showed up. But since he didn't spend the gold, it would be a risky play. Talon eventually recalls a minute later, finally, so let's move on to the next big issues with this game. And funnily enough, it's literally right after he recalls and is coming back to lane. Like I said, you guys in low elo throw pretty much every game. So after recalling coming back to lane, he collects mid wave and sees the enemy team going to dragon. His jungler isn't even on this side of the map, so he should just push mid lane and go for plates. Lissandra should be pushing mid as well, but she's been trolling all game, so it doesn't matter. Instead, Talon goes and stands in this brush, doing nothing, wasting time. His jungler heads over, the enemy gets the dragon before she gets there, which is expected, but his Seraphine hits a big 4-man ult, so he jumps in to follow up, gets a few kills, and the enemy Jinx gets a triple kill. Honestly, it's pointless to nitpick the team fight because it's all about the decision making. The result is actually irrelevant. He shouldn't have ever been here in the first place. Even if they somehow wipe them 5-0, it doesn't matter. The reason for this is, you want to be playing proactive and make the enemy team respond to you. So if Talon goes mid and pushes the wave, and his Diana is in top river, he could easily bait the enemy jungle in mid to gank him after they get the dragon, while he's getting a plate, then they would hard win the 2v2. And even if that doesn't happen, that's a much better play with way less risk. The dragon's useless anyway, you might as well get some gold. When you're fed, you don't want to be going for these high risk plays that can throw a big shutdown like this. Alright, moving on to the next common low elo throw here, and it starts with Talon doing another late roam instead of taking mid tower. This is the same exact thing as before, but this isn't the problem we're going to focus on. He flashes in to kill Thresh and gets 300 gold, and somehow survives this because Sejuani didn't chase him and stun him for whatever reason. He should 100% die here. So he could have got more gold without using ult or flash just by staying mid, especially since Lissandra roamed top. But like I said, this isn't the problem we want to talk about. The problem is after this. Talon's ADC Ezreal is going to be respawning now and coming out of base. So Ezreal obviously can't make it down for this cannon wave, so he should go mid and Talon collect this wave. This way nobody misses any CS. Instead, Talon runs over to here, starts recalling, and now nobody gets the cannon and the rest of these minions. You guys have to understand how important it is to not waste CS like this. When you roam, you can clear the wave especially if your teammate is dead or won't make it for the CS. It's good for everyone. This is just a waste of golden experience. Talon also loses mid CS on top of this because he recalled. So instead of him getting bot CS and Ezreal getting mid so no CS is wasted at all, they lose a lot of CS for no reason. Moving on, we have another very common problem that most of us had to learn to fix the hard way. So Talon is in mid clearing waves, and they see Sejuani show up right here in bot side. Then if we speed forward just a bit, Talon is clearing this wave and sees some stuff might go down bot with Dragon coming up and his teammates pinging. He also saw Lissandra in bot river during this. Like I said, most of us learned the hard way to never ever face check bot river here in a situation like this. We know both their mid and jungler are in bot river, so they could literally just be sitting in the brush waiting for Talon to rotate. I'm sure you can guess what happens next. They were doing exactly that, but because it's low elo, they used all their CC at once instead of chaining it, so Talon actually gets a kill here and gets out. Obviously, the result is irrelevant once again, you never face check here. If he was against players that knew how to use CC, he dies without being able to use a single ability. You guys have to understand how important it is to be tracking the enemy team so you know when it's safe to run into dark areas. The higher elo you go, the more this will be punished. Alright, moving on to the last big throw from this game, and it's one of the most common. Talon is clearing mid wave. And now we're going to pause and ask you, what would you do here if you were him? So you can know the answer purely from the minimap. You can see Darius recalling top, Diana and Ezreal in base, and Seraphine bot river. This means, odds are, Talon is literally the only champion the enemy team can see right now. And if we look at their vision, yep, he's the only thing they see. So naturally, this happens. And now Vlad gets a 700 gold shutdown, and guess who ends up carrying this game? The enemy Vlad. You can't be pushing for objectives if your team is in base. You can push a wave, like Talon did, and then just recall with your team. If you don't have any gold, just sit out of vision. But basically, you need to be tracking your team and not just the enemy team so you know what the enemy team is seeing. This lets you know what they might do next. Alright, now we're moving to the next game, which is also in gold, and it's a Cassiopeia vs Tryndamere. We only have a few things to talk about here, and the first is after this Cass gets a huge kill early on, where she flashes for the enemy Kindred, getting double buffs at level 4 on Cass. This is pretty much GG if a high elo player gets this in lower elo, because Cass is only gated by mana. She has constant DPS, so blue buff just lets her go crazy. But after that kill, before we show you what happens, once again, what would you do next? In case you're wondering, the wave in mid is pushing to Cass right now. So, Cass should immediately start her recall right after that kill, and then run back to mid. The reason for this is, if she tries to run back to mid, any good player will cut her off and look to take advantage of the fact that she has no flash. It doesn't matter if they're ranged or melee. And if she recalled right away, it's early enough in the game that the enemy mid won't have enough wave clear to actually crash the wave, so she'll make it back in time, and even if she didn't, she can TP in if necessary. So if we watch what happens, Tryndamere cuts her off as expected and abuses the fact that she had no flash, and the huge lead she got is immediately thrown out the window. Then, we have one more thing to look at here, which isn't as much of a throw, but it's just such a common mistake in low elo, I have to talk about it. If we look here, Cassio's wave has more than Tryndamere, so it's slow pushing to Tryndamere. A fight is breaking out in Cassio's jungle because the enemy jungler is invading, but the enemy jungler is level 6 and Cassio's jungler is level 5. Also, Cass is level 6 and the enemy mid is level 7, so they definitely can't win a 2v2 unless one of them disconnects. Also, if Cass roams and dies with the wave pushing to Tryndamere, it's just completely over, she'll miss so much CS. And even if she doesn't die, she's still going to miss a lot of CS, so you just never ever roam here with the wave pushing. You have to push it all the way into tower first. On top of this, you should never be joining a fight if your jungler is behind, especially if they don't have ult and the enemy jungler does. It's going to be impossible to win. But as expected, they lose the fight, Cass dies with the wave pushing, and it's doomed. You guys don't have to help your jungler if it's a bad call. Let them die so you stop throwing your games. Mute pings, mute anything so you don't get tilted from your jungler or see them tilt. You have to make the right play. And remember, if you want to improve fast and get the rank you've always wanted, then check out SkillCapped.com, the link's in the description below. Alright guys, these were all very common throws in low elo. If you can get a lead and consistently keep that lead or extend it, you will climb very fast. But throwing leads is just a terrible way to lose because the game was in your hands. But that's going to bring us to the end of this one. We hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.